Minutes on to 11 o'clock here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You're locked on to WEFM 99.9 Clean Fresh Sound, and this is your It's Your Turn program. This Your Turn program is being hosted by Mr. Cecil and Mr. Philbert and Mr. Joel Providence. If you want to get interactive, the numbers to call are 457-9997 if you're calling from a local landline, 532-9997 if you're calling from a digital cell phone, and you can also send us a message or call us on WhatsApp at 457-9997. Good morning to you, Mr. Ryan.
Good morning to you, Karen, and good morning to my colleagues in studio as well. Philbert, P. John, and Joel, good morning. And good morning to all our listeners on the WEFM platforms and also on the Star FM Garifuna platform. We welcome you very warmly to our program today being December 15. And this is a big day in St. Vincent and Grenadines, but I'll allow my colleagues to introduce themselves and perhaps they could mention those goodies. Pijan?
Cecil, thank you and good morning. Good morning, Joel. Good morning, Kieran. And a special good morning to all of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and to all persons listening to WEFM wherever you are in the neighboring territories, in the wider diaspora, particularly North America, Canada, United Kingdom. Good morning. Good afternoon in some cases. It's good to be back on another edition of It's Your Hand. And as usual, we want to engage you in some lively discussion. It's today's somewhat of an open mic, and we hope that you will contribute. Tell us what is happening. Tell us what is on your mind for this Christmas season. Joel?
Thank you, Pijan, Cecil. Good morning, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Good to be here. It's a busy time for many of us, and still, I do hope that persons, while you're dealing with your chores at home or whatever you may be engaged in at this time, that you'll still have time to spend the next 2.5 hours or so with us. It should be a very engaging program. We have lots to talk about, and we hope that we'll have the participation of as many persons as possible who want to call in on any topic, really, but certainly we hope that we can cover things related to Christmas in particular. But I Before I give back to Cecil, I just wanted to say a very special welcome back to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Someone who was a guest on this program back in June. He is Mr. Andre Adams, the bowling coach of the Bangladesh team. And he's back in St. Vincent. Personally, he is a New Zealander, and he's also a Vincentian. I think when we spoke last time, he had some challenges with getting his Vincentian passport renewed. It had expired, and I have been told that that has been taken care of. So he is good, bona fide Vincentian, and we're glad to have him back in St. Vincent and Grenadines. I just want to say as well, Cecil and Pijan, yesterday and again this morning, I saw some healthy lines at the ticket booth at Annesvale, just within the compound of the Annesvale Methodist Church. And the persons were there, even when it was drizzling, there were about 16, 17 persons with umbrellas and so on purchasing tickets for the three matches, I assume, and all three, but certainly if not this evening. I believe that the attendance would be great, and we encourage persons. I do not know when the ticket booth will close today, but I encourage as many persons as possible to go down to Annesvale and purchase their tickets for this evening. It's the prices are great. Should be a great game. We have West Indian cricketers whom we have only seen on television, but now we're going to see them live in person, expressing themselves on the Annesvale cricket pitch. So it should be a great game, and go down to Annesvale to the ticket booth and get your tickets.
All right. Good encouragement, of course. Just to let our listeners know as well, guys, that we have later in the program, our Prime Minister is going to give us a call here. Presumably he's going to give us some update on his recent travels abroad and what's happening for the season. I expect that people across the St. Vincent and the Grenadines, different sectors will be receiving goodies. It will be good to know from the PM how well the distribution of those goodies are going. And we expect and we hope that you yourself will call us and tell us what are some of the goodies you're wishing for, wishing not only for yourself but others as well. So it's good to be on this morning again. But I just want to start off the program, gentlemen, on a kind of saddish note, to express condolences to the loved ones of the late Shelley Clark, who passed away towards the end of this week here, I think 2 days ago. Shelley, who was the editor and the founder of the News newspaper, and who has been a prominent person in the communication community here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Fortunately, he has gone the way of the flesh, basically, and we mourn his passing. Gentlemen, any additional thing you want to say at this point in time?
Yes, Cecil, I just want to join with you in wishing condolences, giving condolences to the family of the late Shelley Clark. Shelley Clark is one of those voices that we grew up with back in the early days of Wibs on 705, now NBC. And I think he also contributed significantly to the changing of the journalistic landscape in St. Vincent and the Grenadines with the establishment of the News newspaper. They brought a certain flair and attractiveness to newspapers. And Shelley was an equal opportunity offender when given the opportunity, when he thought he had to. I myself have been his target on a number of occasions, but never any bad blood. So I really want to wish him, his family, all the best, and may he rest in peace.
All right.
Yes, I just want to support what you both have just said, and the many persons around St. Vincent Grenadines and outside of St. Vincent Grenadines who have commented on the passing of Shelley Clark. I have known him for quite a long time. I believe that when I went into the grammar school, I think he was just leaving, or he might have been in sixth form, and then he was referred to. I saw him in a grammar school magazine as Shelley Z Clark. That was it. Just call him Z. And then I got to know him at NBC Radio, and every now and again he took his craft and his business very seriously, and you then show that he made no mistakes whenever he had to be reading news on the radio station. And I remember one time he called me just to ensure that he got the pronunciation right of a Spanish name or a Spanish flavored name, and so just to make sure it was right. And that was the kind of person. But he was very vocal and he was very strong-willed and very in terms of particularly into certain views. And he and the authorities at the radio station did not get off too well in the end, and he decided.
You mean the NBC, National Broadcasting?
The radio station, meaning yes,
Okay.
NBC Radio or whatever it was called at the time.
Okay.
And then I don't know the genesis of this that brought about the newspaper, but certainly he was the key player there, along with two or three others and so forth. And as P. John said a short while ago, you saw his personality and his character coming out in the journalistic style of the newspaper and so forth. And at one time he seemed to have supported or the position of the ULP administration, and then he veered off in another direction. I think he has never returned since. But that is how it is, and so we all can't have the same position on everything, socially, politically, or otherwise. And I think that the country as a whole should recognize that it's a loss with his passing, whether or not you shared his views on certain matters. We don't know yet as to what will transpire with the newspaper going forward. Shelley himself, even though that he was not the sole owner of the newspaper, he in himself was an institution. And we trust that the news, as we know it is, or however that they may want to alter the focus or the trust of it, that it should be around. We hope that it will be around for quite a long time. To his family, and I extend the best wishes, and certainly our regret, our sympathies, our condolences on the passing of someone who had made a significant contribution to the journalistic landscape of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
No, I just want to say that also our condolences go out to the colleagues, all the colleagues in the media world,
Yes.
in the communication world in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, of course.
I was going to say a few months ago, we spent some time paying tribute to Shelley's contribution to the news as they celebrated the 35th anniversary as a newspaper. I don't know if you could recall that.
Yes.
Vaguely, but
Yeah, not too long ago.
Not too long ago, we did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the way of the world. And we have to, sad as it is, we have to accept it and move on. Christmas is just around the corner, gentlemen. Things are warming up, marrying up in all respects in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. A lot of shopping being done around Kingstown. Just want to recognize, though, that we still, although we suffered from burial and we still have some challenges going forward. In fact, just yesterday, there was a fair amount of rain in the southern Grenadines. I know there was a bit of flooding in Canaan in particular. I don't know if it was a similar case in Union. I haven't had any report. But I just want to express solidarity with the people in the southern Grenadines, and in particular Canaan and Union as they continue to deal with the vagaries of climate change, and in particular, that storm yesterday, if you like, flash flood anyway. People like Terry, I didn't contact him, but I'm sure if he thinks it is necessary, make it as a call. And also Abdon, if they think it is necessary, just give us a call to update us as to the seriousness of the flooding that took place, certainly in Canaan yesterday. And we've had flooding in other parts of St. Vincent over the last few weeks, but given what the Grenadines, Southern Grenadines, have experienced, another flooding episode is of particular concern and interest to us. So we express solidarity and we hope things haven't gotten worse than it was in a few months ago. So, guys, I hope you all are coping and notwithstanding, preparing for a good Christmas. Peter, have you had any report?
No, nothing from the Southern Grenadines.
Yeah, just I noticed that there was flooding, a fair amount of rain yesterday.
We know that we've spoken ever so often about the conduct of drivers on the road, particularly minibus drivers.
Yes.
It was so sad to hear this past week, of 2 fatalities involving vehicular accidents on our roads. I think we're given an opportunity to the authorities to call in if they can and share their concerns and share tips and advice with respect to the road users during this period. To the persons who have lost their life, we express our condolences. But at the same time, we are urging all motorists to be careful on the roads during this season.
Well, that's one of the things I would say on my Christmas list, and certainly on maybe the list of the commuters around St. Vincent and Grenadines. That certainly in terms of the motorists, particularly the van drivers, that they would that we would take heed and pay recognize the importance of driving safely and driving in accordance to the regulations of the road as dictated by our laws. And it's really, we have to be very careful, and this is about time that we now need to do something about it. We have been talking about it for a very long time, and I would love to hear the authorities say, well, why is it that we can't rein in this? Just last week, Sunday, we said that this is low-hanging fruit, so forth. Yes. And look, and it just wouldn't stop. And so, what if it's a low-hanging fruit and persons commonly acknowledge that it is? Why can't we have it the situation addressed? And the whole question of the way the van culture, people keep on saying that it seems to be it brings out what is negative and all the negative things that we want to throw away, the lack of discipline, the lack of order, and so forth. And van drivers, the overcrowding, the music on the vans, the way they drive, and so forth. And it sends a message to the commuters, especially the school children, on riding the vans. Oh, so this is what St. Vincent Grenadines is all about, and so on. This is because no one is doing anything about it. This is part of our culture. This is the kind of music with the lewd lyrics and so on that's being played. This is part of our culture, and so forth. And we are not doing, to my mind, anything about it, because we've been talking about it for years and years and years, and it pretty much remains the same, or perhaps it has even gotten worse. And I do trust that maybe if something that can say out of this Christmas into the new year, that we can address this issue. This is a wish not just for us here in the studio, but I'm sure for the vast majority of Vincentians, that we can try and get this thing right.
Well, in a while, Joel, we would open up to allow a few callers to say whether or not they agree with this, with the wish you are expressing. But I just want to also say that not that we're not blaming bad driving on the two incidents that took place this week necessarily, but it gives the opportunity to raise the question as to the issue that we raised last week, as Joel has pointed out. It's a low hanging fruit, and I see no reason, as we have said last week, why can't there be an uptake in the monitoring and enforcing of traffic laws? I don't think enough of that has been done.
Perhaps, Joel, you could explain to our listeners what you mean by low-hanging fruit in real terms, and why we use that metaphor to describe what can happen to address the situation.
But there are some things that are complex. They may seem straightforward, they're complex. For example,
Take, for example, crime.
correct. In particular,
The
murdering and
shooting,
homicide and so on, right? It is a somewhat it's a complex issue, and this is something that occupies the minds of the halls of power throughout the Caribbean and so forth. And it is we are not making the progress that we should be making, or we all want to be making, but we must recognize it is a complex issue, and so on, that we all need, I believe, we need to all play our part in addressing it. The issue about the van culture is not as nearly as complex, and it is something that could be fixed. We say you use the term a low-hanging fruit. It's because you don't need then to get any big stick or no throw anything. You just simply send the mango tree or whatever, the plum tree, whatever. You just put up your hand and you pick, and you find the solution there. It is there. The reward is there. The benefit is there. The solution is there, and so forth. And it can be addressed by all and sundry, and that's basically what it is. So the quick fixes, let us fix them quickly.
The laws are there on the books, and it's for the authorities, in this case, our police, to enforce the laws. I mean, why would you put up with reckless, lawless driving? Why would you do that? You have people, as Joel said a while ago, playing some of these van drivers, passenger van drivers, playing the loudest of music and loud music. And unfortunately, some of our youngsters are attracted to that. So because that we must give way to them, let them carry on, let persons who want to enjoy peace and quietness sometimes, let it be interrupted by people who, one or two people in the community who feel like their music should outdo some other kind of sound. It is unlawful. And the police know about these things. They know. I know that they know, because I've reported already. And nothing is being done to stop this kind of behavior. The time has come for us to do something about it. And certainly, Joel, my wish going forward into the new year is that something be done. The laws be enforced insofar as these things are concerned, as we have agreed. They are low-hanging fruits. Something can be done. The laws are there, and it's a time for our police to act and pick those low-hanging fruits.
Someone mentioned, we had a discussion just yesterday as to whether or not we are not being as forceful as we should be, because the vans and so on, they play a pivotal role in commerce and in just simply people moving around and so on from one place to the next. And it could very well have a negative spill-off rather than a positive. But I say for the 100 or the 200 van drivers versus the 1,000 or the 2,000 or the 20,000 commuters, I am sure that the vast majority of the commuters, the passengers, even though that they may have some young folks who say, no, this is what we like, this is the culture we like, that the vast majority still would say no, that we need to have a change.
I agree.
In this.
I agree. And perhaps, as you said, we should let us hear from them if that would be their wish as well going forward. They need to say, they need to speak out, and let the police know how they feel about what is not being done to arrest this level of lawlessness among. Well, the thing about it is not only the van drivers, the passenger van drivers, but a lot of young drivers, a lot of drivers, in fact, who have assumed this culture. They're not. I've heard owners of or drivers of vehicles, they just feel it's freedom for them to just blast the music, blast any kind of music with any kind of lyrics. They feel it's fine, but it is. I think it's a carryover from that kind of culture that we are experiencing, and some see it as sexy and bright to do that, but it isn't. It can cause a lot of discomfort, if not lies in some cases. We need to stop it. We just need to stop it, and the police need to enforce the law.
But even if we could probably bear the music,
some of us, but many people can't bear the music. Sitting here, but go ahead. Sorry.
What should also make us nervous is the ignoring of the basic traffic rules, speeding, stopping at any time and any place, overcrowding, those kind of things. Mm-hmm. We should police them more vigorously than we are now.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, I understand there's our streets are already crowded and they will become more crowded. We got to work with what we have, right? I understand, for example, there's a boat coming in shortly with over 200 more vehicles. Now, the question is that going to make our problem bigger in terms of what we're experiencing now on the road? The time has come for us to be more vigilant and to enforce our laws more.
Quickly, you talk about the car boat. That might show some sign of material progress, but at the same time, what happens to those vehicles that are replaced?
Well, that's a good question.
The other issue we have that we don't talk much about is the abandoned vehicles along the roadside across the country, and the impact that those could have. They're hazard, they're home for vermins, and that kind of thing.
Somebody's saying on WhatsApp here, which I think I need to read now. It's saying, Cecil, the reason why there is no enforcement of the laws regarding the van culture is that there are too many policemen, well, I don't know if they're women too, but too many policemen owning vans, and sometimes they are the drivers. It is like the fox guarding the hen house.
I have heard that before, more than once, many times. And I think maybe someone can say, well, look, let's hear what the facts are where this is concerned. Just, I'm not saying that a policeman cannot own a van or some sort, but let's get a declaration on it. I mean, is it 20% of the vans, 5%, 3% of the vans? I doubt that is the majority, the vast majority of the van owners and drivers are policemen or related to the police, members of the police force.
But even if that is the case, does it mean that they shouldn't obey the law?
No, of
the
course
traffic
not.
law?
Of course not. But I think people saying that, and that's why
I agree with you. I know what you mean. But still, no matter who it is, they should enforce and obey the law.
And then, therefore, if the police getting a bad name for it, then I think then the police should just come and declare this is the situation. Yeah. We have made our checks and so forth, and we have determined that it's only X number of policemen who who own vans and operate vans. Let us know what the situation is, and so on, rather than just say it is a free for all because they
Because
have
Nah.
policemen own the vans, and that is really should not be the case. So I think the police need to respond and
Yeah.
see what the situation really is, and so I think it needs to be addressed. One, I think Pijam said something about the derelict vehicles. I find interesting is that they have roadside mechanic shops, right? There are some vehicles that you're almost certain that they can't get the vehicle fixed, or maybe it's just there for spare parts. But so the government now, Brax or whomever is fixing the roads, so they re-asphalt a particular area. So the so-called derelict vehicle is moved off, or they get it moved off the road, and then when the road is fixed, it returns. So they get it back into where it was before, and we're back to the same situation, except for the fact that the road is better in terms of the surface. But otherwise than that, the reality, it still looks very disorganized, and we still have these vehicles by the side of the road.
And the obstacles.
Obstacles. So what should be a case where maybe a 20-foot road that would allow two vehicles to pass? You end up back being with one vehicle, and you have to hope for there's a lay-by area where you can wait for a vehicle to pass. It becomes one way. In some instances, and that is the situation that we have. I just wanted to ask both of you a question.
Before you go,
Yeah,
Joel, let me
okay.
just read. Somebody sent a WhatsApp saying, "Good morning, gentlemen. Let us not forget the main source of this evil: dark tint in public vehicles." Remember, we dealt with that a few months ago, and a law was introduced. Do you remember that? At least there was a bill in Parliament anyway.
It's some way, I think it was published.
I'm not sure if it was gazetted, but there's a bill in Parliament. Sorry, I don't know if there was a bill. Let me take that back.
It's under
When the
consideration.
PM calls in, we could ask him about that. But it's only it was
Well,
under
the Prime Minister
consideration.
raised it on this program.
He raised it on this
and
program.
and he left it out there to
Oh, that's right.
for feedback or
That is
comment.
what, yeah.
But and even on the question of the tin, okay, that is not necessarily the root or the cause of the problem, because okay, the vans might be tinted, but we know the vans, they have names, and so we can identify them and so forth. But one of the things I have is about the rental car, because you find now almost every other vehicle is a rental car
With
and,
tinted
with
window,
and so you don't know what is
glasses.
going on.
Yes.
So you don't know who is the driver, is the owner, the person who has rented the vehicle, and so forth, and what is happening. And I think that is, if you're going to do something about the tint, I'm just saying, I'm speaking aloud, don't knock me necessarily, that we can begin in an area like the rented vehicles and so forth as a start. And so
Again,
on.
we can pick the low-hanging fruits in that
Yes,
sector.
and see how they can be addressed.
Yes.
My question to both of you is it at all possible for public transport, if you have the technology, where you can actually have a small camera station in the van, right? The public transport only I'm talking about, and so forth, which can actually be monitored by the police? I'm just throwing it out.
In the van?
Yeah. I'm just asking aloud whether or not that is.
Well, we might not be the two best persons to respond to that, but we would hear from other people. Pigeon, can you? I can't.
I see privacy issues coming up there.
Yeah. Immediately.
And whether cameras in the van or not, how would that stem the behavior that we're talking about?
I think
the music.
There are already cameras established in different parts of the country. The police should use those cameras, monitor those cameras, and cameras that people's private camera pick up something. They should, at particular points along the road, they should ask for those things. But in the vehicle, I think it's a bit more challenging.
Yeah.
That's a high fruit in my view.
Yeah, okay, but in the public transport in New York and Brooklyn and so on, the MTA and so forth, there are cameras.
But that's what in
That's for the use of the MT and so on and the same.
inside behavior in the vehicle.
So they actually do exist.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying whether or not it is possible, so that it is a way of saying to you that okay, we can actually observe, we can get information or evidence or whatever it is.
Oh, you're saying, by the way, you're saying public transport only. I mean,
public transport only. I'm
Yes,
not
that's
talking
the
about private transport.
yeah,
Public
you're saying
transport only, and that is a condition of actually having a van on the road.
Let's take this call. This person maybe should chime in. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
You have to turn your system off, or you move away from your system, please.
You can hear me now better?
Yes, go ahead. You're still
You know, some of them private vehicles.
Hello, call. Can you move away from your device so we can hear you clearly? You don't need it. You don't need to hear it to listen to it now because you're on the phone. Go ahead.
You can hear me now better? I'm out from the area.
Go ahead.
Some of them private vehicles, they're renting them out too now. The police them so check up on that too. The cars and them now. Some of them they're renting them out.
Yeah,
so check up on that too.
Yeah, but what we're talking about, that's a different issue. We're talking about the extent to which we need to control lawlessness in driving. That's all right. But sorry?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying we're not necessarily we don't want to get into people's business, their business pursuit, but we're talking about the traffic and the kind of lawlessness that we see on the road. All right?
All right.
Thanks for calling. Okay. Yeah, we have a message here from somebody saying, "Good morning, gentlemen. I agree that the police ought to be more stringent in the execution of the their traffic authority. However, it is my opinion that the penalties handed out to the culprits are in many instances below the expectation of many people." Well, I don't think it's so much meeting the expectation of people as much as curbing the kind of driving that we're seeing. The penalty should. We have a call. Let's take this one. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning to you.
I don't know who all is on the panel, but
it's all right.
Good morning.
Good morning to
everyone. Good. Your topic that you're on is an excellent topic.
Let me advise you. These days we have a time limit on calls. That's a station policy.
That's not a problem. So I will get to the points then very rapidly.
All right.
Okay. Good. Now, there's too much lawlessness here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines with the drivers. I'm speaking generally, all drivers. And I think that the police have to wrap up much more than how they're dealing with drivers here in St. Vincent. I've seen a lot of drivers with alcohol in the hand driving with passengers.
You don't mean you mean bottles? You said alcohol.
Bottles,
you cannot really see alcohol. You mean bottles?
Bottles are glass.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
bottles.
you have to be. You don't know what's in those. You don't know what's in those glasses or bottles.
Beer bottles.
Okay, all right.
And Guinness bottles. I see that with my eyes.
Okay, that's fine. You're specified. So go ahead.
Right. And the other thing I heard you all speaking about, which I had implement in my car in Canada, is the insurance would give you a gadget and the monitor from that gadget how recklessly or how fast you're driving, how late at night you're driving, and they will reduce your fees from what they see. So this program is already implemented in North America, in Canada, because I had it. The other thing that I noticed, we need more police on the road, and the police got to issue tickets. Where I'm living, I can tell you, when the van pass, you can hear my glasses rattling, the window rattling. I haven't seen this thing need to be settled with once and for all, because they're not getting enough ticket. They're not taking away the license, and let them go back and do the test and let the government make some money.
Well, the idea is not to make the government make money, but to improve the driving. But go ahead, make a point.
Like that,
finish your point, please.
Yeah, if they're driving like that and we have to charge a fine, we will have to charge a fine. And I'm talking also about the tinted window. From my experience, I had my window tinted in the front a little bit too much, and the police has a gadget that they measure the thickness of the tint.
That is in Canada. That is in Canada.
Hours.
That is in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I heard the PM speak about it recently, about the tint. So we need to establish some form of, criteria where drivers here in St. Vincent respect the law, and
all
the
right,
police have to implement the laws.
All right then. Thank you for your contribution
today.
Much. Sure. All right. He mentioned the thing about the insurance providing some kind of equipment to be placed inside vehicles.
Monitor speed.
It's an interesting concept. I'm not sure if it's implementable here in St. Vincent. And again, Joel, is that? Oh, we have a call right afterwards. We talk about that. Good morning. Welcome to the program. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the program.
Yes. So, Providence made a call. Mr. Providence made he's talking about the cameras that they have throughout St. Vincent can detect the traffic violation. Made a good point there. A few years ago, I was in the UK, and I was driving, and when I get back to New York, I got a ticket in the mail for £55 because I went to a bus stop. And then I got another ticket in the mail, £40, they say is a processing fee. So £95 I had to pay. I had to send over to the UK. So that's an important point. People who come to St. Vincent on vacation, they may do a traffic offense while they're in St. Vincent. They'll get their ticket in the mail wherever they're from. So that's a very good point.
But let me ask you, how do you suggest the police implement such a system in St. Vincent and the Grenadines?
Well, rental cars, if you rent a car, and they'll send the ticket to them or charge it to their credit card, they'll have the credit card on file. Mm-hmm. So that's what happened to me. So how much minutes you gave us? 2 minutes, right?
No, yeah.
2 minutes?
No, three.
3 minutes, all right. So I'll be generous. I'll give somebody else my remaining time so they can make a
all right, my
have
friend.
A good morning. Bye.
You too. Okay. He's being generous because this is Christmas. Okay. All right. Joel, I think you were raising a point when you still.
Yeah, well, that's still the issue about the camera. Look at the possibility still exist for the public transport. It's something that it might well be doing. I don't think that the van owners or van drivers would appreciate it, but it's a way of addressing the problem as well.
All right, so we have another call here. Let's take this one. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Hail up. Greetings.
Greetings to you.
Yeah, brother Ryan, Pijan, and Joel, the rest of the audience listeners. Bunga Shak here. Yeah, quickly. Joel, I think that if we had from the beginning, right, it all go to arrest a situation, the early stage, right? I think if we had implemented from years ago that in order to obtain a public transportation driving license, you should at least be, say, 30 or on up, and you have to have a certain amount of years of experience in driving. I say that because if you observe, most of the drivers are very young. The mature driver that I ride with, I find they drive very carefully, and most of the time, when I ride a van like that and I step out, I commend the driver that people can hear, either by the way he's driving or the tone down of his music. And I'll tell him, try to encourage your other peers, your other driver friends, to keep that level of music, as I enjoy your ride very much, and I wish I could all ride with you, right? So I think that's one part of the weakness that we had from the beginning. Because these young guys, as a caller said, I see them with drinks in their hand. Sometimes I try to talk to them. It's a whole aggravated situation, right? So we need to check on it, and also bring in the breathalyzer test. It's timing up. A lot of people throughout the world have been dying through traffic accidents because of drinking and driving, right? Drunk driving, as they may say. And a lot of countries now is up the game, even dropping the level, Joel, with they have a pointer system like 0 points or whatever. So they up and dropping it more lower now. So I think we need to put a rest on this situation, and I hope Comrade can look at it to that, see if we can maybe change something, make a step, changing the age structure, and let's see what's happening. Because these young guys just have license 510 it. I don't want to call a name, but I see a person, I couldn't believe it. I know this person. And not when I say whether male or female, but I know another experienced driver who was in the former national football was looking, and when she called him with the van, the person, people pitching here, the woman going this way, man going that way, and all that. She not handling the cornering properly, especially when there's a power steer. And I look at it, So we need to up on that, and let's get in a breathalyzer test and so on, and see what's happening, and get this situation rest, and get this loud music seriously out of these vehicles. Okay? So thanks a lot. I'm not going to hold line because I want Cecil run me off today.
Not me, Bongo Shaka. Bongo Shaka. There's a policy. There's a general policy now. And I'm implementing the policy.
I retaliate. Just getting you. Hey, Cecil, you are going to cricket?
Come and pick us up now. Joel and Peter and I.
You see, you read what I say now, man. I want to ride out, I walk out. I don't want no public transportation, Cecil. This is safe this weekend, this month. I pray that for today.
Come and pick us up.
I wish I could get somebody pick me up.
Arrange to pick us up, man. It would be available.
All right, one of them nice ladies, as you go say, Bongo Shaka, I will pick you up at 6:30 because I want to go in early at the entertainment factor they have.
All
there.
right. So if any of them call the station, we will let you know.
Man, one of my lady friends going to call for sure. I go to prepare, and I dressing down real hard, you know what I mean? So she could have a good side man there, So
the side man, then you're in bad shape.
Yeah.
You're in bad shape.
Yeah, look at you.
All right.
Yeah, man. So enjoy the rest of the day, man. And
you too.
Listen, y'all. Right.
You too.
So man. Give thanks. Bless up. Yeah.
This
we have another call here.
Okay.
Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Mr. Ryan. Good morning, Pigeon. Good morning, Mr. Providence. What the fundamental problem I deal with is the attitude of we people. We go back to the attitude of we people, because the police and everybody come out of society. And the society that we come out of, we are afraid to tell our friend the truth. Man, you're doing choppiness. We're afraid to go vex with me. The point I want to make, if the material thing grow and the mining grow, we going to have problem. And I cannot understand why the minivan association just suddenly go silent. The only time you hear them is when they're talking about price money. I want to know how responsible for the coordination of the minivan them in Trinidad, the minivan them in Grenada and all them other places. Because in that everything police have to be behind now we for do. One thing I just burn my heart is anytime you go by the Leeward bus stop and it is in order, that till like police did it. Vincentian is 10 more years before the 200th anniversary. And when they say emancipation, 1834, they take the chain off we hand and we feet. And we proving it daily that we chain them we mind. Because we politicians, laws, and all them things cannot build attitude, you know. The laws and things just grow out of demands from our society. And if we, the people within the society, don't analyze and feel the sentiment and the ground with people, what we want for the generation that come in, this attitude Gambian party politics and Gambian politician, you know, is about we the people have to take some concern. We will have a whole set of deaf people coming down the road, them van driver, one set of high-low music. We had to start to analyze we as a people. Okay, Mr. Ryan?
All right.
All right, my brother.
All right. Have a good day. All right. Thanks for calling. We have a message here. It reads as follows. Good morning, gentlemen. I have been advised that there is a device available online shopping site, which when pressed will shut down the music anywhere, including on a moving vehicle. The abuser has no idea what jamming or what jammed the music, which is great. Well, not sure about that one. That would have to be properly checked out. It's an idea, but it would have to be properly checked out. The person goes on. I would like to encourage an entrepreneur to import these devices. They will sell like, okay, I'm not sure about this. It's an idea which needs to be checked. I think it sounds interesting and exciting, but it would definitely need to be checked. Because you wouldn't want to do this kind of obviously the police would have to be involved in checking that out. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, my brother.
Good morning.
Greetings.
Season's greeting to you too.
My name is Timothy Cyrus, and I'm a regular caller.
Cyrus.
Yeah.
Hope you don't mind, but we are waiting on a particular call, and which might be coming in. So if you could call us back sometime later on, all right? Thank you for understanding. Right, okay, good. Yes, in fact, I'm sorry I missed it, but yes, I received the note saying that Mr. Adams, the gentleman who is the coach,
the bowling coach for the
Bangladesh team, he is trying to get in touch with us. You recall that when he was in St. Vincent during the ICC tournaments, he spoke with us, and we expressed our hope that he would call us back when he said he was going to be back to this time of the year, and we expressed our interest in having him call us at the station here when he gets back. And now he's back, and he's trying to reach us. We would love to hear from him. Mr. Adams, he's the bowling coach. Okay, could this be him? I don't know. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Let me just go quick and give my little 2 cents on the
Who is this? Who is this? Who is this?
This is Andrew Deshong.
Andrew,
yes.
You don't mind? We are waiting on a call from Mr. Adams, the coach, the Bangladesh bowling coach, who's a Vincentian. He lives in New Zealand, but he's a Vincentian.
Okay.
Can you call us back? Or can you be very brief, quick?
Okay, I will call you back.
Okay, right, thanks. All right, so we're still waiting on Mr. Adams. Joel, anything in the meantime?
No, just basically saying that we have so many other things to cover, but this topic about the van culture and so on is, it has awakened an interest among the listeners, and as you can see, manifested in the call. But I just want to say this is not something peculiar to this radio station, to this program, because it was discussed on another radio program yesterday and last week, and from time immemorial. It's like a recurring decimal, and I do hope that we could really it's no longer a case of nipping it in the bud, just dealing with it head on, and it is something that we could fix, and let us fix it.
Well, the good thing is that our audience is different, so we're having, I hope it's different people who are calling in, so it would add to the voices that already have expressed concern. But yes, we welcome all the calls who want to say something about how you feel on the question of the nature of driving in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So if you have an opinion to share with the public, please call us 457-9997. And we don't have an abundance of time this morning because we're waiting on a call from Mr. Adams, the bowling coach for the Bangladesh cricket team. He lives in, well, he's both a New Zealander and a Vincentian. His father is from Bequia and lives in New Zealand, and he himself was born in New Zealand, from what he said, but he's a Vincentian, carrying a Vincentian passport, which he got renewed just not long ago, from what he said. So we're waiting to hear from him, and we're also waiting to hear from Prime Minister. Well, Prime Minister is due to call us around 11:30, so we'll see how that goes. We have a call now. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Hello, good morning, and how are you guys going?
We are going good. And you?
I'm going great. This is Caller on the Hill.
Call on the Hill.
Suzanne.
You may have to, Suzanne, we're asking for your understanding. We're waiting on a call from
Okay.
Mr. Adams, and we've been waiting for him to call us. So we just want to receive his call. You can call us back. Is that okay?
Okay, no problem.
Okay, good.
Yes, no
Thanks.
problem.
Thanks for understanding. Yeah, in the meantime, this person's sharing with us via WhatsApp that Friday, my wife and I experienced the same kind of driving here in Barbados. So, as you say, it seems to be the original thing. That doesn't make it right, of course.
Wherever there's people of African descent, you find that kind of behavior.
No, Pijan, I disagree with you.
I tell you that I was in mainland China, the People's Republic of China, and I've seen some driving. Like the Chinese would put these drivers in St. Vincent to
joke.
Yeah. So I tell you, I mean, it's crazy.
This person was reminding us that a lot of young drivers and others have a gadget in their cars that monitors their speed. If they give the insurance company the information, they get a discount on their premium, which is similar to what one of the callers said. It's interesting. And the person is calling from the UK, and they're saying, is sending the message, from the UK, and said that is what obtains in the UK. And here again, another message saying, good morning, my friend from Canada was in a minivan and the music was so loud they could not hear. She was saying, stop. So they passed our destination. Stop the music. It's out of control. We people are encouraging this. Well, we the people, I think, we are encouraging this kind of behavior. The law is there, enforced before something terrible happens. All right, again, there's a message from somebody. Advice, really. So people are listening and people are responding. We have not yet heard from Mr. Adams. And it's just about time when we might get a call from the PM. Can you send a message?
Yeah, maybe you can. Maybe you'll come back at a later stage. So we'll try and maintain contact.
Yeah. All right.
So Suzanne and Andrew Deschamps can.
Well, Suzanne, you can call us now.
And Andrew Deschamps.
Andre
Deschamps.
Andre.
Or Andrew, I think.
Okay, we're having a call from one of them. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning to you.
Well, Mr. Ryan, it's a long time. What you say, give you 3 or 5 minutes. That should happen a long time.
Yeah, but let's move on from there because we're tight with time this morning. As you might have heard, I waited anytime now the PM is supposed to call us, and also Mr. Adams. So let's just get into it.
Yeah, well, I got the PM listening to hear because right now I asked him if they could ask America
if they could boom me out and get rid of some ignorance going on and you start afresh.
If you can, if they can, hold on, if they can bomb you out, is that what you said?
No, you bomb out the people them who make it can't
No. What kind of violence you're advocating on this program this morning, man?
You got to come to that. America will come in, America will police after that.
Anyway, so
Mount Australian you say attack by you and you say mango they're going we could pick and everything like that. And even
who said that? Hold on. Who said the mango is on the ground? Who said the mango is on the ground?
Mr. Ryan, you didn't true there, Mr. Providence, pigeon asked about mango on the ground, meaning that the thing could take
No,
easy.
you were not listening well enough. You need to listen. You need to.
That could be going on.
No, my friend, you're not even listening now. You're not even listening now. I'm suggesting that you listen more because none of us in the studio said the mangoes on the ground. We said they're low-hanging fruits.
Mr. Ryan, you know in the studio, pigeon asked Mr. We name it. When you say the mango hang down that they and they need to pick the thing easy to pick, so you say,
Okay. Move on, go on. Move on. Move on to the next point.
Pigeon asked to explain that way people understand. We don't understand. We've been at Sri Lanka and you tell me nobody said that.
Just move on.
Because people calling and they're on the radio, cut them off at the same time. Do not do that. You any program there, you got to control. I think people could control when people speak, when people call and cuss, and you take them off here and you speak to them and them none of them off here. All them kind of things it means you need to develop, but you need to help with develop the place. I'm sorry.
I'm listening to you, knowing that you have 30 seconds more. You have 30 seconds more.
Mr. Providence said it mango wherever on the ground pigeon have to explain and you tell me we not hear that. Yes, me glad that the program you could speak for 3 or 5 minutes and you give your indication when the time going go up. Because so much ignorance is going on in the country and nobody doing nothing. So we need to do it. You postpone election, if you NDP win, you postpone the election every 10 years that you could develop the country and get rid of some ignorantness. Because police need to go and clean out some of them ignorantness so people just go and shoot and kill people all about the place.
All right, my friend. Thanks for calling. That's about the time. Thanks for calling. Thanks for calling. The time is gone. I reminded him he had 3 minutes, and in fact, he himself said that, and he kept going repeating the same thing the time went. I'm sorry about that, my friend, but I had to. Yes.
We'd love to hear Susan
and Andre. Yes. Andrew. Susan, call us now. You said, Peter, did you say mangoes on the ground?
Low-hanging fruit. I think that's his way of seeing it.
It's on the ground?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't hear Joel saying on the ground. Neither did I say that. It's amazing. But that's an interesting observation. I mean,
By the way, talking about while the call comes in, I was speaking with an agricultural extension officer last evening, and we're talking about what is coming back in now. Like we begin to see the presence of bananas. Slowly coming back in.
Oh yeah.
And so on. You may some person like have a few tomatoes and so on. So you may not have to be paying $24 a pound for tomatoes anymore. Hopefully that will be a thing of the past, and that the prices will go back down and so on and make it affordable for a person. So let us see what happens with regard to vegetables and fruits and so on, that Vincentians can partake at a cost that is reasonable to them or to us.
I have a message here, WhatsApp message here. It's person saying, it's amazing that we have so many crimes taking place in our country, and you guys are talking about cricket and goodies, what the PM is going to address. Don't you think it is very important to address the issue at hand? All one has to do is to type in SVG. Yeah, all one has to do is type, and it's right there. We have cameras around Kingston, and we have persons being shot and killed, yet they are not able to catch the criminals. So that's what this person has to say. I just thought I'd read it because it came in, and I read WhatsApp messages. I don't really editorialize what people. Well, once it comes and I see it. But it's an interesting.
Yeah, but I think
so-
earlier on we did mention something in relation to the murder rate and so on. And we didn't say that it's a blackout.
Joel, sorry, we had asked this person, to hold, and this person's calling back. Good morning again.
Hello.
Welcome back.
I just want to make it quick because I know the PM wants to call. Somebody call it back again. What I would like to see, you have something called in America, you have called Smoky Joe. When I say Smoky Joe, them traffic police in Narcas in some little coochie corner. So when the guys are speeding, the license plate just come up on the radar. And 1, 2, 3, they call the next traffic police on the next end and say, look out for this man, look, and license plate and everything will show up there. That's how you catch them, because sometimes when they meet you, they stop speeding. And when they reach past you, they go and speed again. So we mean that inter-dialogue then. Because everybody in police car, when you're in that area, you're supposed to have everybody name and license within. So when they do, and the pop up, you call the next partner, the next end. So and so coming down, PX, coming down. So check him out. And then you have the walkie-talkie. And that will help. We call it Smoky Joe.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for your suggestion. Okay.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Yes. Yeah. So, Joel, yeah, sorry, you were making the.
Yeah, but I just digress a little bit and say basically, I'm moving about the fact that bananas are coming back and so forth, and that hopefully that we can actually see the price of certain fruits and vegetables and meats and so forth, that they actually go down, because to be honest, you must accept that the cost of living it's something that many of us are grappling with right now in St. Vincent Grenadines and throughout the region and so on. There are products that are not available, and as we heard in Barbados about the issue with eggs and chicken and so forth. But it's a real problem, and there are many persons out there who are fighting it hard to manage, and I do hope that we can even see some modicum of price change downwards that between now and the 24th of December.
All right, let's take this call. Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning.
Oh,
it's Ralph.
Greetings.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Cecil, P. John, Joel. The issue which you're raising, Joel, about the restoration of production and also tying the issue towards the question of rising prices for certain commodities. I think that, well, first of all, we have to commend the farmers and also the production support which has been given to the farmers by the government. You remember, I was on your program a few weeks ago, and well, a couple months ago too, when we spoke about the monies which were given out specifically to banana and plantain farmers. And Saboto had reported that it had an effect of restoring production, both in plantains and in bananas. And when we had the fall in production because of beryl, and particularly in relation to plantains, the Barbadians were complaining also because they get a lot of plantains from us. But I think the matter, Joel, you've been involved in the business of food and distribution of food through couriers. By far, the bulk of inflation, rising prices in St. Vincent, in the OECS countries, is largely, overwhelmingly, through imported inflation. because we import so much of our food and so much of our drink. And that's just what happens. I notice prior to the onset of the season, middle November thereabouts coming down, the statistical offices in the US and also in Britain they were reporting a moderation of price increases. But I just saw last week, passing through London, I was reading a number of reports, and people are complaining of the supermarket prices going up again, and people were writing to the newspapers, and newspaper columnists were talking about it, not as inflation, but something called greedflation. It's a concept which has been introduced because some supermarket operators in the United Kingdom had been engaged in jacking up their prices beyond what it appears objectively should be the situation. And we have to be very mindful about this happening here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You may recall that I raised that issue in my Independence Day speech. I didn't call it greedflation, but we have to be on the lookout for greedflation.
Yes.
The bulk of the price increases clearly take place as a consequence of the imports, and we have had disruption of supplies, the supply chains, and anytime you have the disruption of the supply chains, you get increased prices. But it had been moderating in a few months now from our major source markets, and we have to watch to see whether it is picking up again, and to what extent that there is quote unquote greedflation.
May I just
and the production of increased production of local foods would help clearly. Though I must say this, that the recent rains have caused a lot of problems for the vegetable farmers. I mean, farmers don't vote the windward and leeward side with the recent rains. They just got all their tomatoes and lettuce and other things just washed out. It has been a terrible thing. They get the blowout barrel and then they get it in the recent rains. Sorry, you're saying something, Joel?
Yeah, I'm going to say that one, that I think the vast majority of business persons in St. Vincent and the Grenadines do not participate in greedflation. Do not.
Yes.
I think, however, as you said, that sometimes the supply chain is disrupted. I think what we have to do is search for alternative source markets, as has been taking place like recently in Barbados and Trinidad and St. Vincent and so on, like with poultry, right out to the UK, out to the US, where the price is going up. Now they're looking at Brazil as an option, and there are better prices coming out of Brazil into St. Vincent now, and that has helped to bring down the price of chicken. It just means that
but you know that we addressed that question at a policy level, because there had been a hold on importation of chicken from Brazil for quite a while.
Yes.
Because of certain quote unquote health considerations. You know that, and the Americans particularly had been very active putting out information on that. But all that we have done is to look at independent sources of information, and there are a number of firms in Brazil which do the export, which have perfectly good quality poultry products from every standpoint. So sometimes people don't know the kind of cutthroat nature this thing going on. It's like a few years ago, Pijan, when the Americans put out this big story that coconut oil and palm oil dangerous for the health because of the extent of the cholesterol, and the then government in St. Vincent bought into that foolish talk. And countries in West Africa and, of course, Malaysia, particularly Malaysia, mounted a response, research and so forth to show that that is absolutely not the case. But by the time that word came out, the powerful machine of the food industry in the United States had already had sensible people running from coconut oil and palm oil. You know what I mean?
Yes, so that is why
it's a complicated business requiring a lot of care with how you're dealing with it. Sorry, Joel.
Yeah.
I was just insert that point.
Yeah, and the same. But I think that it's a good point. But I think that the private sector itself has to do its own research and keep looking for alternative sources and so on. Look at supply chain issues and so on, so that to the benefit of themselves and the people of their customers here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Absolutely. And of course, once the price of oil was rising, it would hit all commodities across the board, because the oil has to go into the plane, the ships, the road transport, the production machinery. You know what I mean? That is something which lifts prices generally. And that is why I think I discussed this before with you on the radio program more than one time. It is a false analysis to say that if you reduce VAT locally, that you're going to have some serious impact on the cost of commodities, on the price of commodities. And the fact of the matter, very little, either in labor costs or production in services or taxation, very little of that contributes to the increase in the prices of commodities. And you can see that for items which are zero rated. And a lot of foods are zero rated. A lot of the foods where the prices are going up are already zero rated for VAT, on which no VAT is paid. So by talking about reducing VAT generally by 1/5, all you're going to do is to leave $55 million a year in the hands of supermarket owners and other merchants who sell in this or that, on which you have VAT. And to the benefit of nobody, not the consumers and not the government. The only people who would be laughing to the bank would be the supermarket owners and the merchants.
Well, I would hope not, because they tend to mark up on a percentage basis of what the landed cost would be. It's 35%, 40%. So if and that the landed cost includes the VAT that they would pay at the port.
Yes.
So if that comes down, the 40% markup will also be less in dollars as well.
Yes, but the comparative analysis has shown across the board, anytime you reduce sales tax or VAT anywhere, the impact on inflation is a number approaching zero. And the only way in which you will have it otherwise is if the inflation is largely generated locally, and if you have perfect competition, that all the consumers have all the information about all the commodities which are being offered at all the various places. And that's not the case. That's what the evidence shows, Joel. It's plain and simple.
Well,
and what you will then do, if you forego the tax there, You just would have to put on a head tax, a mouth tax, a eye tax, a nose tax, a hand tax, and a thumb tax. So, but the increase in production is very good for the farmers, for those, for the commodities which you have mentioned. But fruits, we have had vegetables, we have had a problem because of the rains and the landslides recently again. And I was talking to Sabota yesterday about this on our way going to Venezuela. We went to Venezuela for the ALBA meeting, Sabota and Benava Brown and myself, the 20th anniversary of the ALBA, from which we have benefited immensely. And Sabota was clear in his view, and I agree with him, that given the changes which we had see taking place, the climate changes, more and more we have to assist farmers in investing in greenhouses. Yes. And to make sure that the greenhouses are built sufficiently secured and everything, and for the technologies to be used. Because there's nothing more heart-wrenching that you have your tomatoes and you have your watermelon and you have your lettuce and everything like that, and you think that within a week's time or 2 weeks' time you're going to be making a lot of money, and then you have landslides, a lot of excessive rain and landslides, and everything just wash away. It's all your investment gone down the hole.
How would these greenhouses be financed? Is there a particular plan in place already?
Yes, we have put some money aside, and we are the one in the big greenhouse park in Montreal was severely damaged by soufre, by the volcanic eruptions, and in April 2021, and Sabota's advised me that they should be up and running by the end of this year, maybe all now so. But he told me that about 3 weeks ago, or early in January. And then under the $10 million US loan which we borrowed, the money we borrowed from the World Bank, and where we have given out a lot of implements and so forth. Remember, those things have been given out all over the country. I think 8 sets of distributions have been done already. Involving in further distribution will be small animals, sheep and goats, and also we're dealing with greenhouses under that program too. But in the upcoming estimates, we also have further monies which should be allocated to that. By the way, I mentioned the estimates. We're going to have the estimates debate on Friday the 3rd of January, and the budget is scheduled for the 6th, Monday the 6th of January. I was hoping to have gotten the estimates done before Christmas, but it became evident to me that it would not have been ready to go to the printery and to be in the hands of parliamentarians in enough time to have it done before Christmas, and to get the attention of people. And a few days not going to make any difference. The estimate is going to the printery, I think Tuesday. The Minister of Finance told me at a meeting on Thursday, wrapping up some details. Well, in fact, I took the drafts, both the capital and the recurrent, down with me to Venezuela. So even when I reached down there the night, I was working the night going through, and I get a final run over this evening before I give the results of my final fine-tuning to the Minister of Finance and his officials.
And when would the estimates be circulated to the members of parliament?
Well, if they go, they will probably take 3 days or thereabouts down at the printry. So I would expect before the end of this week they will get it. This week, which starts today. So if it goes on Tuesday, get back maybe Thursday, depending on what time it goes on Tuesday, to the printry. Now, I just want to bring colleagues up to date on a few things. When I was with you the last time, I told you we were in the process of building and verifying, having built and verified or about to complete the building of 3,200 cards to give the $600 a month. Remember, I announced that in my budget, in my speech, in my Independence Day speech. You remember that, Cecil?
Yes.
I said there were different categories of monies, and this was in relation to households who have been adversely affected by burial, where the heads of the households had jobs, lost their jobs, or didn't have any jobs in the first case. Heads of households. And the number which we were looking at was a number getting to 5,000, because 4,993 households were directly affected, but it didn't mean that all of them had their households, the head of their households not having any money, lost their jobs or had significant diminution of their income. But so that was the first lot. For persons, I know, and that they're being distributed, Southern Grenadines, Northern Grenadines on the mainland, up to Thursday morning at 9 o'clock. That's December the 12th. Close to 2,200 cards were distributed, meaning another 1,000 were to be distributed. And distribution took place on Friday also. So I would have expected that pretty much all of those cards would have been distributed. Some no doubt would remain. But what is happening? You have about 1,070 households which are being investigated, which had been registered, a further 1,070, and 1,370 which were not originally captured are being also investigated. So another 2,000 or thereabouts. There are some persons would say, well, Mary got, I didn't get. Well, Mary probably went and either registered directly, or when persons passed by their homes, got Mary and didn't get Elizabeth. You see what I mean? But the process will continue, and for those who were left off because of any of the administrative processes, we are hoping that those cards would be built, that the verification process will finish by Monday, and those cards would be built, and those who are getting, hopefully will get their money before Christmas, which would be for the 3 months now, $600 per month. So their resources still to be distributed. So I just want to make that point. And this week, at 3 different locations, about 5,600, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it's in that range, 5,500, 5,600 farmers, farm workers, fishers and their crew would receive monies. The monies on their cards, because cards would be built for persons who don't have cards and who are farmers, fishers, farm workers, and the like, and fishers' crews. And that's in addition to the $3 million which should be distributed for the workers who did the cleanup now. There's lots of money. I mean, the farmers' money, farmers, fishers, farm workers, the crews. There's about a number around $12 million. There's a lot of money being distributed, you know. By the way, people say where all this comes from. All that is in our supplementary supplementary estimates and supplementary appropriation bill, which we laid in the Parliament on July 18th. But that's why it was so important to have done that long Parliament, which went into 4 o'clock in the morning on the Friday, from the Thursday to the Friday. Because the sooner you completed the work, Joel, that is to say the parliamentary work, is the sooner that the professionals in the ministries would get to work to go through all these lists. You could imagine the amount of work that is required to be done, to get the individual names from the database, those whom you have to get to put the cards for. And when people talk about politics involved, I mean, it's just foolishness. We do our part in this particular way, Joel, with the Parliament. And then it's the business of the public servants and the people in the various ministries. In the case of the money is for the heads of households who are affected. That database is compiled by the Ministry of National Mobilization, and they have different sources from how they can compile that. Naturally, you would expect that some persons who are deserving their names would not be on. That's why you're having a sweep-up process going on right now. And there are some persons whose names are on, probably shouldn't be on.
Yeah, and how do you clean that up? How do you verify look for those names?
They have their own internal processes where they do that. They have people go out, check. They have a whole set of persons in the Ministry of Social Development, the Ministry of National Mobilization, who do this work. It's not new work, you know. We did this work in Sofre, and there are you got similar kind of complaints, but overwhelmingly the ministry, the professionals got it pretty much right. If in a complicated business like this, Pijan, you get it 90-something% right. You ain't doing too badly.
True.
And then you have a sweep up just in case that there are cases which are deserving, which were excluded. You get them included. And I want from a different pot of money because that different pot will have to come in the new estimates. That's why I want to get the estimates done very quickly in the new year and the appropriation bill. There'll be another pot from which people will get money. In January and February, I hope that I'll do it as long as I possibly can. You know what I mean? Because Merrill has hurt people, and this government is always a caring government, and everybody knows the heart of the Prime Minister. Everybody knows it. They know my heart, they know my mind, they know our philosophy. This is not, we are doing things, Joel, which had never been done before in the history of this country. And other governments around the region ain't doing it either. You get my point?
And do you think that future governments would be obliged to follow suit?
Those with the philosophy and mindset and the heart of Ralph and the ULP. You know, that's the truth. That's the truth of the matter. Though, of course, very, you know, I'm and I'll come back to some information. But you raise that I'm trying my hand a little bit at some parang, and you know, they're releasing tomorrow a song called "So Tell Me What You Want for Your Christmas." The number of messages I get, what people want for their Christmas. And I hear they put plenty messages on Facebook too. I haven't seen it as to what they want for Christmas. You all should listen to the song. It involves me and some other artists.
Was there a
We must
sneak
have some
preview?
fun in Cecil.
Was there a sneak preview of it? Was there a sneak preview?
Well, the title of it, "Tell Me What You Want for Your Christmas."
Oh, I see.
So you could get a sense what it is about, and the one of the persons, and it is being marketed under the one of the persons who are doing the singing called Santa World Boss.
Okay. So those who are putting in their wish, they have to sing as well. They have to sing.
No, they don't.
Oh,
I mean, the number of people who are.
that would rule out Peter than me.
Tomorrow, I'm going to hit the road and distribute some toys at schools. I can't go to every school naturally. I do some on the Windward on Monday and some on the Leeward on Tuesday. You know, and I am personally making I'm personally doing my own thing.
These toys have been distributed by Ralph Gonsalves in his capacity.
Yeah. It's not the government. It's not the government. The government.
But seriously, Prime Minister, my understanding is that WEFM is having its usual Christmas parang tomorrow night. So I was wondering if you're down as a special guest.
Well, the WEFM, I think, is a commercial station. They might have to pay me to perform.
I thought you was the other.
I understand that there's a line which you know, naturally. So tell me what you want for your Christmas, and then there's a line. You know, there are lines like, you know, 1 for you, 2 for you, 3 for you, 4 for you, 5 for you, 6 for you.
Oh, okay.
You hear me? 6 for you, 6 for you. We're gonna have fun, man. No, this time is a time of peace and love and faith and fresh hope amidst all the difficulties and challenges that we have. And as always, love is a never fixed mark that looks and tempests and is never shaken. And I make the point all the time, Joel. A number of people will get on the platform. Happens all over the world. Somebody says, not necessarily a political platform, other platforms, I love you, in the general. Well, I'm not doubting people's sincerity when they so assert. But the love which is deep, more important and meaningful is that love in the particular. Love for somebody who is homeless, somebody who has had a difficult time, love for somebody with whom you have an intimate connection. And love in the particular brings immense joy, but it also contains pain. And that is part of life. And live and to get over the pain and to have that pain metamorphose into love through a process of pain. And it involves, in some cases, passion, but always commitment, which is a very important value. But I went off on something while I was putting the information, but just giving information about what we have been doing. But just to say that, in addition to that love which I mentioned, the faith, as Paul, servant of the Lord, called to be apostle, emphasized it in the book of Hebrews. You know, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of that which we have not yet seen. And those virtues, those Pauline virtues are important always, and they involve peace, and particularly in this world which is so ravaged by so much war and violence, that we always have to be putting this issue. And if I may just continue with so this week we're going to see this week this week coming up, certainly, and would finish before Christmas, the distribution of the monies for the farmers, farm workers, fishers and their crew. And then I want to give, as of Thursday morning, the 12th, to at 9 o'clock, and I give these numbers because these are the numbers which I had a cabinet meeting on Thursday. I got back from Qatar and the UK. Incidentally, in Qatar, I met important state officials, Emir Prime Minister, Minister of State and Minister of Foreign Affairs, other officials, and I met in the UK Foreign Minister David Lammy. Had a good meeting with him, and I will talk more about that, if not today. You'll hear more about it, but there were good conversations of benefit to St. Vincent and Grenadines, both in the UK and also in Qatar. But housing now, the data that I have, which I'm going to give you in relation to Ministry of Housing and Housing and Land Development Corporation. This doesn't involve the data from, say, the Seventh-day Adventists who have done some houses in Union, the Gumbalimba Group, which has done significant work in Kanawha and in Union, other NGOs who have done here or there. I'm talking now about what we have done through the state. Remember, I indicated that you had 4,993 households which were damaged, affected, damaged or destroyed, who are either self-registered or our assessors went into the community and identified the properties. And since then, there are a few hundred, since burial, there are a few hundred which have been damaged or destroyed in the recent rains now. I got a report this morning, for instance. You know that there was a flood in Canaan yesterday. Imagine that. A flood.
We mentioned that at the beginning of the program. Any significant damage?
I've gotten an oral report from former Permanent Secretary Pompey, Godfred Pompey, who has Canaan connections and whom we have working as a link between ourselves and the important group Gumbalimbo. Houses have been damaged, and there's been some damage to some state infrastructure and some flooding. Like, for instance, the police station. I don't know if anything happened to the bank. We'll have to get the report tomorrow from the bank. One or two other places, the airport was closed because a lot of debris there had to be cleared up. I was hoping to see if I could get to Canaan this afternoon. But I'm still there's a work in progress. I'd love to go and pay a visit. You see, then tomorrow and Tuesday I've already organized these schools, so to find. You see the time problem, P. John?
Yes, yes.
Huh? Anyway, the houses. This is why I tell you guys this, from the basis of my experience. Anybody who wants to lead must have energy and will. They must have vision and skill. And those things are at a minimum. Some people don't have any of these things and want to lead. And then, you have a particularly gift on your hand in terms of leadership. If in addition to those skills, the person possesses some qualities, difficult to define it. It is something delivered by the gods, and I'm using gods here this come from somewhere else. There's something, you can't define it, but you know when the person has it. You know that the man or woman has it, Joel. In whatever area of business, whether in politics, the NGO community, Pigeon teaching, business, whatever, something special. And part of that thing which is special is to be able not just to inspire people whom you lead, but to draw out of them that which is good, noble, and of high quality, and oftentimes to draw out goodness, high quality, and nobility from them, which they do not as yet know that they possess. Am I still on?
Yes, you're on.
All right, something came across shortly,
yes,
and
that was an error. Yes.
Okay. So the assessors they have assessed 2,601 houses. Each individual assessment. And the 702 have been completed. 744 have received self-help. 533 are ongoing. And 144 projects have been prepared by HLDC, and 65 contracts signed, and work has started on those. Now, the number which had been given to me was 144, but when I contact HLDC itself, they told me it's 174 where the projects were prepared. So those are the numbers which we have. Now we want more people. We need more workers. We need more contractors. It's a real problem which we are having. And we have between Minister Brewster and the Minister of Finance, Camilo. You know, this Sai Baba, this group out of Trinidad, Joel, which helped us with the first 27 houses at Orange Hill. They're prefab ones, which can go up reasonably quickly. They have a limited capacity, and we're trying to see if we can get them to provide 30, 40 per month as from January, because you need a lead time to get them. And we're putting resources in the estimates too to deal with that. So we have to have different models. We have to have prefab houses of one kind or another. We have to do our traditional houses. When I was in Venezuela yesterday, I had a discussion with the relevant official to see how we can, if we can do something together. Because though we have made good progress, I want to see even more. I'm talking on the house in front now.
You're speaking of houses that were totally destroyed.
Damaged or destroyed. Damaged or destroyed.
But the damaged ones, you're speaking about prefab and so forth. How do you take that?
Prefab is for those which have been destroyed.
Destroyed.
Yes, but we are building houses our traditional way too, you know. But it is clear if we just build our traditional way, we are not going to make a significant dent in the time. You know, Joel. And we have to try to build back. This is the challenge here. We want to build back better and stronger. But you also want to build back quicker.
Yes.
So I'm still trying with the incentive, the initiative which I had with the Canadian authorities. I met the relevant minister in Qatar, because we were at a forum together in Qatar, the Doha Forum. And of course, when I had discussion with Foreign Minister David Lammy, the initial proposal that I had put to the British government, which I had discussed with the Minister responsible for the Caribbean and Latin America 4 weeks ago, and I went through London. I raised it again. It's for me to get through the British Armed Forces persons who can help us to build houses with rapidity as one of the issues which I raised. And my proposal is before the Ministry of Defense, I'm told. So I'm awaiting what the outcome will be in that. That's a summary of this, a long conversation. And I just, by the way, there was lots of other stuff discussed, and you know I wouldn't have a conversation with the British authorities without raising education. And David Lammy, it's something high on his list, because I'd raised it with the minister responsible for the Caribbean, as indeed I'd raised it with Prince Charles when he was Prince Charles, and subsequently I raised it with him as King Charles. And he had been useful in linking us with University of Wales, Trinity St. David, with 55 university scholarships after hurricane, after the volcanic eruptions in April 2021. In fact, all those students in the undergraduate, the 40 of close to 40 undergraduate ones, they've now graduated. You know that, and back home, most of them, few of them, continuing graduate work in the United Kingdom. Then the Said Foundation is given 3 graduate scholarships, 1 year graduate scholarships fully paid for each year, plus for 5 years. So that's 15 of them. That's a tremendous gift. Plus, through the Said Business School, we are negotiating to have every year at least 3 persons from business, the private sector, or the state sector to go and do, persons who are graduates at executive level, to sharpen their skills. 6 months, 8 months school programs at 6 weeks, 8 weeks programs at the postgraduate side School of Business at Oxford University. So there are many initiatives there on all different things. Joel, it's a tiring business, you know. And there are many, many balls in the air, and you have to throw them up, and you're catching them and following them, almost like a magician. But we're making progress. And when I went to the island of Tanara, off the northwest coast of Scotland, I went there to speak to over 150 Romanian and Scottish workers to ask for more volunteers to come down. That's Ian Wace's island, which he's developing, small island, nearly 1,000 acres, a touristic place, developing a particular way. He's the one with the Gumbalimba group. This weekend, 22 of them are leaving. I think today's the 15th. I think today is when they're leaving. Another batch will come in. Another batch will come in on January the 15th. Another 22 or thereabouts, and they're doing excellent work in Union and in Canawan. I'm hoping I can get some who can come on the mainland too, because we need more workers. We need more contractors. And I hope they keep hearing me on this. Lots of money being spent. In fact, I will tell you this: persons may be wondering, well, Ralph, with all these resources, what is happening? How things are holding up? It's a difficult challenge, a real difficult challenge. I have here in my hand the fiscal operations of the government, a summary of the fiscal operations of the central government for the period ending the 30th of November, 2024. The revenues are up, Cecil. Our revenues are up, but our expenditure is growing faster. And the expenditure is growing faster as a result of 2 things. One, post-burial spending, and secondly, the capital program. The capital program is big. And let me give you an idea. Total revenue and grants compared to end of November last year with end of November this year is up 15.3%. That's a big number, Israel.
Yes.
And current revenue of that portion is 8.4% increase over last year in the current period.
And the current revenue came through mainly where?
Oh, in different, the taxes on incomes and profit, particularly, not individual so much, but corporate taxes, that went up. And you pay taxes on the basis of your profits. That went up by 49%. Non-resident taxes went up by, under the category income and profits, by 66%. And let me just pause here to say, you remember when we arrived in office, the top rate of income of corporate tax and also income tax was 40%. It's down now to 28, Joel.
Yes.
While at the personal level, the first $25,000 they don't get tax at all. So you notice at the personal level of income tax, the tax is almost becoming like a flat tax. Because we're raising the minimum threshold, and below which you do not pay any tax, and it's now $25,000 a year. You don't pay any tax on the first 25,000. And then we reduced the top rate from 40 down to 28. And then taxes on goods and services, that went up overall by 13.4%. VAT almost, I'm talking about domestic VAT, almost 17%. Excise and imports went up about 40%, and taxes on international trade went up overall about 9.6%, reflecting in part volumes and increased value. And of course, you pay on the value, but they increase values too. And that's where we are in terms of the total expenditure. Total expenditure increased by 24% over the same period, but current expenditure increased by 12.3%, reflecting, as I say, the post burial spending, like some of these monies we're talking about now.
Yeah.
For instance, at the central government level, the goods and services went up, but you had a big jump in grants to other agencies, state agencies now, which have to do spending. That went up by about 40%, BRAGSA, HLDC, etc.
SVGT.
And as you would expect, because your expenditure is increasing over your revenues, even though your revenues have gone up admirably, but because of the special situation, your current account deficit would increase. But what jumps out at you from the summary is capital spending. Capital expenditure has gone up by 70%. And there are some matters which I inquired about which have not come to account. And it's going to jump when everything comes to account before the end of the year. In fact, in pure raw numbers, at the end of 2023, at the end of November 2023, was $174 million, which was a record over the previous year, which itself was a record over the previous year. But this year, at the end of November, it's $296 million. And the officials in the Ministry of Finance told me that the number is likely to end up by the end of the year, $450 million. A huge amount of money as well on the capital side. But it is all within the frame of building out a modern, competitive, many-sided, post-colonial economy, which is at once national, regional, and global. These reflect the concept, but you see it because you have to build, in addition to education, which is central in that building out that economy, you have to deal with the infrastructure too, and you see how the infrastructure is going.
Yes, but
a lot of it is related to climate change. A lot of it is simply to build a modern economy, you have to have, of course, the airport, which was, of course, done before. Well, you have to have a port. You have to have proper health facilities across the country, schools. You have to do sea and river defenses, build bridges to link different places, and which didn't have it right now. Up in I came a Vincentian gentleman who his parents, well, he's Vincentian by descent. His parents are born in, he was born in the UK, but his parents went up there. And he has 2 or 3 small supermarket outlets, independent ones. And he has some lands up in Perseverance. And he's going to do farming, high-level farming, but also he wants to do chicken, both broilers and layers. And he was saying to me, he said, you know, I'm so happy that you're doing all this work up there on the roads. We are spending over $20 million on 5 river crossings and on the roads up in Perseverance. No, he wasn't going to be interested in doing that, putting in the investments, if we didn't address these infrastructure issues. And of course, the infrastructure issues to be addressed all over, roads, for instance. But you see the extent of the expenditure what we're dealing with here. We have limitations of revenue, even though of resources, even though we are raising a lot of money. And we have limitations of manpower, skilled at all different levels, and also unskilled manpower, which to be utilized in a number of ways, but not necessarily available.
How you?
There are more things we can talk about, but I think I don't know how long I've been talking here, but it's a bundle of information I've given you this morning.
Yeah, just I have a couple of questions. But
sure.
Just on the question, well, you indicated that your expenses actually exceeded the increase in revenue.
Revenue, exceeds in expenditure,
right.
Both recurrent and capital,
right,
exceed revenue and grants.
So if your debt,
I had to make up the difference by borrowings.
By borrowings, right? So that's the question I wanted to ask.
Yes.
In relation to your borrowings, and do you have an idea that you can indicate now the debt to GDP now, or where you in terms
the debt
of the debt
to
situation?
GDP now is in the 90s percentage. No, but we have we have worked with the World Bank. With the IMF, and we have worked with the and the central bank. They understand, and that we do, in fact, as the last report by the IMF pointed out, we have a trajectory that by 2035, that is to say, in a 10-year period, to bring it down towards where we'd like to see it, around 60%. No. Because there are big projects which are bunched now. For instance, the port, $650 million. The hospital is $300 million. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So there's some big ticket items. There's some schools. Some stuff to be done on police stations and clinics and the like. But we have to get those in order to be able to build out the economy and the society.
But you still would have, after these, you still have Annesville, the city to build out, the tunnels to.
Yes, well, I'm hoping that the city with Annesville building out, that would be a private-public partnership. And also the development of the port, where the old port is now.
Right. Yes.
The vision for that, and I'm going about looking for viable private sector entities to work with the government. So to be able to reduce the extent of government equity and borrowings by government to build out those things ourselves.
Okay. I want to ask, in regard to housing, when with this housing program, you mentioned almost 5,000 households were affected and so on. How long is this program going to run for? Is it going to run till into 2026 or the end of 2025?
Absolutely. It's not going to finish in 2025.
Yes.
It's not going to finish in 2025 for two reasons. One, we don't have all the money. But even if you have all the money now, you don't have the capacity to build all those houses and or to repair in the period of time which remains.
Yes.
Time is in this regard. It's there are people who are saying, well, boy, elections is the end of next year. Ralph can done build all the houses by the end of next year. It's not possible. But what is sure is that we're making real good progress, and that people know that we're the only people who can do it, because that's what we have done in the past.
And when would Union Island, you think, be back on even keel, in reach a state of
this is where
satisfaction?
I was speaking to Edwin Snag this morning. We have done maybe over 140 houses. Of course, there are lots of physical state structures which have been done. Others still to be done. And the Gombalimba people probably have done maybe 20-something, 30. So that people have seen that there is a dent being made. Some persons who have had insurance and who have gotten some insurance money, or some who have gotten some money elsewhere and who can help themselves, have started to. And this is what I want to encourage. You know, you can start something and do something for yourself. Go ahead, because clearly you're not going to be able to build out all of those, Joel, within the time. So before now and the next general elections. But remember this, we are taking on in part an obligation, which governments hitherto in St. Vincent across the world don't take on.
And
Joel,
and which
we have had disasters here before and elsewhere, and this hasn't been done anywhere. It wasn't done in the great USFA either.
And which will become so entrenched that it will be the expectation going forward for this and
well, you know,
governments.
You know, there are many issues which we have to resolve along the way, including affordable insurance, building back better, stronger, people being very sensible in following the planning regulations, all of these things in this period of climate change. But Joel, government is not a continuing university seminar. I can't be just having a conversation on that and don't be building houses or helping people.
Yes.
Though there are persons who think that because the government has assumed in part, notice I say in part, a responsibility. Really, it is not the government's responsibility to provide free housing for persons. The government can assist with its housing policy. But, you know, look, let's look at some of the elements of the government housing policy where some of them have contributed greatly. But first, let me just give the numbers. In 2001, you had about 29,000 households. Now you have 46,000 households in the country. 47,000 households. That's a remarkable jump in the number of households, Joel.
For 100,000 persons,
But that's the point. That's a remarkable jump in households, in the number of households. Now, there are people. Let's take the way in which this government has helped to build a larger and stronger middle class. Taking people from among the poor and the working people and the peasantry, the marginalized. First of all, Pigeon, you give them an excellent education for practically nothing, right up to the university level. And you have a job in the public service. And you get a no down payment mortgage. When we announced that we were going to do that, when we were in opposition, and I personally persuaded the teachers and the public servants to include it in part of their demands. The then government, the NDP government, said that I'm a crazy man, that I will bust the bank, I will bust everything. But it turned out that turned out to be the bread and butter for the bankers in Vincent and the Grenadines, National Commercial Bank bankers in Vincent and Grenadines. And trade unions, credit unions followed suit, and other banks followed suit. So that, Pigeon, you can, as a young public servant, you can own a house, but have equity in a house because you'll owe the bank or the credit union. And when before is when you're 45, 50, you're able to begin a house. And then you only had 5 more years to go to 55 if you start at 50. And then you're in trouble. But what you have to do when you're going to build a house which is affordable on your salary so you don't get frustrated. But sometimes there's a temptation. You get your university degree, you have a reasonable job as a teacher, public servant, a medical doctor, or whatever the case may be. You think you don't think it out properly, and you build a bigger house than you actually may need, or more expensive one than you may need, and you need a car. So you're burdened with both your mortgage and your car payments. And you have to balance those things very carefully. But across the country, we see people have entered the middle class through education and through owning their house, their home, because of the way in which the government has made it easier. And then we have had our low-income housing program, and we have had our no-income housing program. Now we are having a program involving helping people to build back after a disaster. There's nowhere else in the world that happens. I want the people to tell me where that has happened.
Prime Minister, I want to ask you, sorry if you don't mind.
But Joel, you can see all the issues which arise there. But I can't be debating the issue while mothers and fathers, and especially children, Joel, to have a roof over their head. And in the meanwhile, I have about 600 persons in paid touristic accommodation. We are paying their rent. Plus 500 and something in shelters still.
Yeah. By the way, if I may just, that landslide where this house at Rockies went down the slope at just a couple of weeks ago, and they actually indicated that they had a latrine and so on. I would love to see the day when we no longer have latrines and that we actually.
Oh well, let me tell you this, Joel. I'm glad you raised that. When I came to office, the NDP had a program, a pit latrine program. It was in the estimates, which continued over into the estimates in our early period. I said, but this is madness. I said, why don't we do water connections to everybody? So we did free water connections, We have, Joel, the water connections to households in 2001 was 70% of 29,000 households. Today, the water connections in the 98% of 46,000 households. And you can't have a flush toilet, as we will call it, without you have a water connection to your home. And the numbers of pit toilets are now few and far between. And I'd like to see none at all.
None at all.
Prime Minister, given all that you've been sharing,
I'm glad you raised that, Joel.
Yes.
Given
By
all
the
that
way, the ministry, the Ministry of Social Development, I remember the MP in the area, for that area, Fitzbramble, had called me, had spoken to me about it. I think he spoke to me face to face at a parliament here, or called me, I can't recall which. But I put the matter immediately in the hands of the Ministry of Social Development, Ministry of Mobilization, and that as far as I'm aware, the persons are in, as reported to me by my permanent secretary, the persons are in accommodation, which the state is assisting.
Yes.
Significantly.
Prime Minister, given all that you have shared with us in the program so far this morning, would you say between 2001 and now that the level of living among Vincentians has improved both numerically and in terms of the
quality of life has gone up immeasurably. Now, listen to me. First of all, when we came to office, let me use a broad macro measurement. The United Nations Development Program have its Human Development Index, which is every year it updates. And we were at the middle level of human development in 2001. We are now at the high level of human development. There's a category above us, very high. And we'll get there. We're on the journey there. But we are at the high level of human development. And you measure things with education, health, lifespan. You know what I mean? No. In raw economic numbers, Joel, the nominal GDP, gross domestic product, that's the aggregate value of all the goods and services produced in any 1 year in the country. Was under $800 million in 2001 when we arrived. $780 million, I think the number was. It's now knocking your head up to $3.4 billion EC dollars. You're talking about 3 times the nominal number. If you use a deflator, Joel, you're not going to. We haven't the value of the 2001 dollar has not doubled. Joel?
No,
in other words, you haven't had 100% inflation over 2001.
No, I was going to say it's somewhere around it's 60 cents on the dollar or something like that.
Maybe 50 cents. But the nominal GDP has increased 3 times. That alone will tell you. You could just look around, you watch the houses, you watch the bridges where people could cross and recross. You watch the restaurants, the hotels, the people going out, the entertainment. You watch the fashions, the lifestyle. You had 8,000 vehicles on the road. Now you now have 35,000 vehicles. I mean, 4 times the number of vehicles than you had in 2001. These are just, they're there for your eyes. And the problems which we are having, colleagues, stem from largely human behavioral problems. Criminal misconduct, violent criminal misconduct by a tiny minority, particularly of young males. But having said that, you have 400 persons in the prisons. You may have, I don't know, maybe 100 or thereabouts, 100 and something between 18 and 25. But at the community college, you have 2,650 persons, males and females, at the prisons, at the community college. When before, you would have had 300 and something prisoners, but you had only 500 persons at all the community college divisions in 2001. The numbers have gone up 5 times at the community college since 2001.
Yes, but there's considerable unease, I must say, though, Prime Minister, about the murder rate now. I
agree with that, and I am also concerned about it. I make this point all the time that this is a problem where the solution is an all of society solution. Problems in the family, parenting, what's happening in the communities in terms of community leadership, community organization, what happens in churches, in schools. These guns coming in from overseas, and we don't produce them guns and bullets. And it is important that all the state institutions dealing with security must work optimally. That is to say, the police, the law courts, the prosecution services, the prisons, and lots of work has been done in these areas, and we have to carry them. I mean, I had a conversation with the commissioner on Friday, soon as he came back in, about certain things, and this week I'm going to have a meeting with them. I spoke to him about certain other things which we need to be doing. We need to see a greater presence on the ground with patrols and the like. Well, there are many things. I don't want to talk about all of them. But tomorrow, even it's in this Christmas period, and doing all the things we were talking about, we are having I'm going to speak at the opening ceremony of a CARICOM Crime Gun Intelligence Unit, CARICOM has established a CARICOM Crime Gun Intelligence Unit where we want to share intelligence across the region, and of course with the United States and our other allies in fighting crime, because this is a regional problem, it's a global problem, certainly a hemispheric problem, and but I also come back to the issue of the family, community, church, school, and of course for the working of the state institutions, all those which I've just named, prosecuting service, police, law courts, and prisons. The others have responsibilities, the media. Some of that you can't, you know, in a free and democratic society, you can't control things in any case. We see what social media has done and is doing. So this is how I frame the issue, and this is for all of us doing it together. I don't accept, of course, the facile, simplistic, and inaccurate view that persons who don't have jobs, or some people say poverty. Explain to me, when you have more jobs now than ever before, and when you have far less poverty than you had before, how is it you have more violent crime now? Joel? You just need a common sense analysis there, grounded with social science.
May I respond by making this comment? It seems to me by reading the articles in the newspaper and in social media that some persons have taken the eye for an eye approach. I'm talking about murders, and that they prefer to operate outside the parameters of the justice system. Isn't that an issue that if their brother got shot, you're not going to report it to the police, but instead you're going to take the law into your own hands?
Yeah, but that has to do with how persons build, or how persons are socialized in a home, in a community, rather than a reflection of the system of justice itself. Because in the United Kingdom, do you have some of that? You get less of that there, at least as far as I can see from the objective studies, even though trials in the United Kingdom take inordinately long time. And there are similar complaints about they don't get justice, the jury brings somebody not guilty, or if they bring them guilty, the judge give them a soft rap on their knuckles. I must say this, so that, again, it has to do how you're socialized, how your own mindset. I want to say this, though. I am satisfied that in one respect, the judiciary, the Privy Council, but very much so our own Court of Appeal, when, for practical purposes, they brought the death penalty to an end. This is a matter upon which, over the years, I've had conflicting positions, and I understand all the arguments. But I'm satisfied that in our circumstances, the Caribbean, the abolition of the death penalty in practical terms, it's still there on the books, but is no longer mandatory for, according to the judges, they said that constitutionally, the death penalty cannot be mandatory for murder. And the judges say that it's only it's the worst of the worst cases that you can have the death penalty. In any event, it can only be done within a 5-year period. Now, by those rulings by our Court of Appeal, by the Privy Council, and by the Caribbean Court of Justice, essentially making the death penalty practically impossible to carry out, they have removed a deterrent for persons who have a proclivity towards criminal violence. I know you guys have gone silent on that.
No, we haven't. We've been following.
No, I'm just giving you.
Just because I remember the discovery, the Pratt and Morgan situation and so on back then.
And subsequently in St. Vincent, by a Court of Appeal decision, a 2-1 decision, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, which extended Pratt and Morgan reasoning, which was subsequently adopted by the Privy Council, and which is now manifest inside the DCCJ.
Yeah.
Where, for practical purposes, look, the Privy Council, there's a case with a fella named, well, I wouldn't call a fella name, but he had disemboweled a farmer and disembowel him and chop off his neck. Disembowel him before he chop off his neck. And that one was so terrible that the judge here, Justice Bruce Lyle, said he should go to the gallows. Within that this is the worst of the worst. And the Privy Council said, no, it's not the worst of the worst. Well, if that one is not the worst of the worst, huh? P. John, what could be the worst of the worst?
I have no idea.
Yeah?
But
we had to fight it. We had to fight this monster
together. But Prime Minister,
within the framework of our laws.
Yeah, there's some lower hanging fruits, and people have been expressing those concerns. For example, some of them came about the early part of the program. The kind of seemingly lawlessness among on the roads.
Yes.
Also the question. Well, people thinking.
I agree with that. I think that I complained to the commissioner, and I said to him, I said, "What is the matter?" I spoke to the officer corps also. I said, "What is happening to police officers?" I'm not talking about the traffic department, but the police in dealing with, for instance, what you call low-hanging fruit, let us say, in relation to how, and I'm not just talking about minibus operators, but they're involved, but road traffic.
Yes.
I asked the question, I say, is this because there are a lot of policemen who own minibuses, not necessarily in their names, but their brothers, in their brother's name, their wife's, their girlfriend name, and they operate it, and I don't know, because I'm looking for explanation. One of the things I see in the police force is if there's a traffic issue, if somebody is in a way in dealing with traffic, an offense is committed in Georgetown, unless it is an actual accident, it seems as though the Georgetown police or the Chateaubriand police or the Layou police or whatever, they say, well, that's traffic department business. But the traffic department can't be everywhere. And a police officer, he's sworn to maintain order, law and order, wherever he is in relation to anything. Like somebody will tell me, no, this is not for me. This is for the CID. Of course, the CID are the specialists in the major crimes unit, the criminal investigation department. But an offense is being committed, to deal with it. That's what you're trained as a police officer to do. And you bring in the experts where that is required. But a fella can't be behaving like a hooligan on the road. And because the traffic police is not around, no other policeman interferes with him.
Well, I raised it, Prime Minister, and you'd understand.
But that's a clear policing problem.
Yeah.
And I'm not mincing my words on that. And I have told the commissioner that things like these reflect upon the police and also the management of the police.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm speaking now. I don't want to speak more specifically. I'm speaking in broad categories.
Well, Prime Minister, I only raised it because we were discussing it earlier on, but also you indicated.
I'm glad you raised it to hear what the Prime Minister has to say about it.
Yes. Because it's part of our quest to build a modern competitive economy. I mean, people coming in now, a lot of people coming in now from overseas. For example, yesterday were 3 American Airlines planes on the ground. And we have to match people's expectations as they come in. They come in from societies of order and law abiding. We have to match that if we're going to build this modern.
If you know, well, you would expect from the way I've just spoken there, how I will speak to a number of other things.
Of course.
In relation to the police and to get things to be done, as indeed with the law courts too. I mean, we hired a judge. We said we will pay. Remember, there was a backlog. We said, well, okay, we need to get more judges. The criminal high court is clogging up. So I said to the Chief Justice, recruit and appoint a judge, additional. We will build the court. And that wouldn't be paid from the center. St. Vincent and Grenadines will pay for it. Remember by Marcol Plaza there, we fixed up the courthouse, a judge came in and so on and so on. I don't know if the judge, the police are telling me, I don't know if they did 10 cases for a whole year. Huh? I mean, judges also have to come under scrutiny.
Yes.
In terms of their performances. So too indeed magistrates. Everybody. But we have a good framework of laws. We have good judges and magistrates. And despite the limitations of the police, we have good policing, though there are weaknesses, as we have pointed out, all those things. But one of the amazing things too, and the lawyers don't want me to say this, the lawyers contribute to the length of time, and some judges allow them to contribute to the length of time that it takes for a case to come to trial. Because if the lawyer doesn't get all of his or her money, he or she doesn't want to go into the case, and they find all kind of reasons why he must have an adjournment. Because remember, money is the oxygen of the legal profession. Huh?
Okay.
And other professions as well.
Other professions, but I'm saying, I was just making that point. And some of the same people who waited on getting all the money before they go and do the case are among the first to say about the length of time when the clients come to trial. But all those are problems in the system, but fundamentally. And we are dealing now with apprehending people having and punishing people having committed criminal offenses. But Joel, it has to do with parenting. And it has to do with community leadership and community activity. And it has to do with schooling. I make this point to the teachers. I've sent out things already to them, various schools. I talk about it all the time, about the need for quality school leadership, quality teaching. Yeah, of course, quality parenting and a certain minimum acceptable level of the physical facilities and the structures you have for education. But when I talk about quality teaching, I'm not only talking about quality teaching in respect of ability to transmit knowledge to your student and to raise your critical analysis, critical powers, and to be able to engage in critical analyses. A teacher has to teach himself and herself what is the good in them, in them. But a teacher has to turn up on time to the class. A teacher has to conduct himself or herself in a particular manner. In other words, in addition to teaching the subject, you have to teach yourself. And overwhelmingly, I'm satisfied that the teachers teach the goodness of themselves, Pijan. But you've been a teacher. But if a child is spending 7 years in a primary school, but he or she has the unfortunate situation to meet two bad teachers along the way, they could cause a lot of damage, you know. I've just spent 5 years in a secondary school, Pijan. One bad teacher along the way can create a lot of damage. Am I not correct?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, you are.
Well, so that I am. You would notice the mature manner in which I address this question, rather than how it is done in an opportunistic way by some people.
All right, Prime Minister, we're just about at the end.
God bless, man.
Before you
Thanks
go,
for the time.
before you go, we
Cricket
anticipating. Well, today for sure, we I'm sure you're going to be under the light at the poolside.
I'm going to be there. I'm at cricket.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to the 3 good games.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that we get more games going forward. It is I'm disappointed that the management of West Indies cricket, they can't even have a quorum for a cricket West Indies meeting.
Yes, twice. I understand.
Well, and because some of the reforms that which the leadership want to put forward are related to just themselves, to extend their 2-year term to 3 years, to extend their 2-year term to 3 years.
Right.
And then rather than having 2 2-year terms as the maximum they can do, they want to have 2 3-year terms. No, they want to have 3 3-year terms. You know, that is your focus about concentrating your own longevity and power.
Yes.
Maybe that doesn't apply to them. Maybe it applies to their successors.
Well, even so. But the Barbados Cricket Association and the Guyana Cricket Association, they have a different perspective. But leadership would require that you get those various perspectives, and you bring forward what can be achieved. If they just stay away, what you're not gonna.
But
you become dysfunctional.
Yes.
Are these proposals in the interest of West Indies cricket and all the youngsters across the region, Prime Minister?
Well, I have to be persuaded that they are.
Okay.
Maybe that is what happens when you are led by what sort of star it is again? The which flames out.
I'm not.
I mean,
I'm not. I don't know. Peter,
The name of a supernova.
Yeah, supernova.
I don't want you to supply the word.
Pigeon just did.
I said Nova.
So we anticipating the break tomorrow. Prime Minister is tomorrow for the big launch.
Of the song?
The song. The parang.
Yeah,
yes.
my manager has informed me that it's tomorrow it is going to be launched.
Okay.
Remember, an artist must have a manager, you know.
Well, a good place to launch it would be here at WEFM at the 9 morning parang tomorrow night.
Well, I will ask my manager about that. He might have a different view.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thanks a lot, Prime Minister.
Good.
All right. Yes, and I wonder if Karen will allow us 2 minutes. If you could get Adams, is it?
Yeah,
possible?
he was still on standby. Say he had a lunch, but he was still.
Well, we have about 2 minutes. If you can call
let's
us
see if
now.
we can get it done. And
Karen won't be too upset with us, I don't think.
if not, then we will just simply close. But
Yes.
let's see what can get done.
In the meantime, this has been an interesting exchange. Pijan, Prime
Yes,
Minister.
I want to thank the Prime Minister for his extensive discussion on the crime situation.
Yes, he did. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, making the point is not just any particular institution or individual that is responsible. It's all of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of us.
What?
And well, as he indicated, he's going to be meeting with the top brass of the police tomorrow, I think he said. So I'm sure he's going to have further discussion. And as he indicated, there will be matters they'll be talking about in terms of tactics and strategies, which you can talk about on the radio. So we would expect there to be a change in the presence of the police around the place. So that's good. That's good to hear. In the meantime, we still final try to see if we can be in touch with Mr. Adams. If not today, tomorrow. I mean next week, not tomorrow. We would still be here. And while we're doing that, I just want to say that we had announced last meeting that last issue at hand, Pijan, that we were going to try and have a kind of call-in to allow people to benefit from some goodies for Christmas. We weren't able to organize it fully, but I can say that we would have some fancy fresh product on offer next week. We're trying to reach I think we're trying to reach get in touch with Mr. Adams. We're not yet. Yes.
Hi, Philbert. Please leave me a message. Thanks.
Yeah, we're not able to. So yes, I was saying, Pijan and Karen, next week we would have some goodies nonetheless to offer to callers. Goodies from Vinci Fresh. Vinci Fresh is the local company that produces marinades of all types, from locally, well, not locally, but farmers to business. A lot of farmers do business at Vinci Fresh. So from the farm to Vinci Fresh and to the world. Vinci Fresh is now exporting to Canada, to the USA, and they are having other trials. So next week we would be able to offer to our listeners different items produced by Vinci Fresh. So we're looking forward for that. In the meantime, we'll have to pull up because we have not been able to reach Mr. Adams, and we had invited Susan from the Hill to call us back, but she never did. I guess she herself is occupied. So on that score, we want to say thank you very much for being with us today. Special thanks, as Pigeon has already given, to Prime Minister Gonzalez for filling out a lot of details, including the whole question of crime in St. Vincent. Well, not crime, but killings in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we look forward to being with you another Sunday next week. We thank the management of Star FM and Garfin Radio for linking with us. So on behalf of Pigeon and Joel, Karen, my name is Cecil Ryan. Good afternoon.